So here is the second video in the series to help you guys learn from home. This is section 4.2. Again, it'll be coded fm30 section 4.2.1, all lowercase, no spaces, and it just simply means we are on section 4.2 and we're on day 1. So today we learned something which on the surface is really easy. It doesn't get really tough, but hopefully I can explain how it will eventually be important. What I would probably recommend you do is find the factorial button on your calculator. And no, we're not an English class. Yes, I'm very excited about it. So again, pause the video, find that button. And now, here's what we're going to start with. And hopefully you're following with the PDF notes as well. If we were face-to-face, what I would actually have you guys do is start by just typing in 4 factorial. That's what it means in math. And you would see in your calculator an answer of 24 appear. If you typed in 5 factorial, it would be an answer of 120. If you typed in 3 factorial, you'd see an answer of 6. If we were face to face and this was your first time doing this, I'd probably try to trick you into thinking I'm actually smart. I would challenge you guys to type it in, I would race you, and I would yell out the answer and no, I didn't memorize them. When you were doing a factorial, here's what it actually means. 4 factorial actually means 4 times 3 times 2 times 1. And so again, if I would have challenged you guys to type it in, I'll see if I can get it done before you, I would have gone in my head, 4 times 3 is 12, times 2 more is 24, times 1, I might have been close. 3 factorial, I think I could have beat you guys. 3 times 2 times 1. I think I would have had 6 before you did. 5 factorial, I think you would have won the race. And then as you can see in the PDF notes, it would simply be 5 times 4 times 3 times 2 times 1. And I have a few more examples that would just be for practice 8 factorial and 6 factorial. Now, in number 2 in the PDF notes, what I have written down is what a factorial actually is. It's the number of ways things can be arranged. The next line says a factorial is the most basic type of permutation. We will hold tight on that. I just wanted it in your notes for right now. And then when we learn what a permutation is, you'll realize why we wrote it down now. And I will also explain what the formal definition is in just a few moments. Now, what you see down below is not in your notebook. This would have been the demonstration I would do in class face-to-face. I want you to imagine that I had 5 people standing up at the back of my classroom. And let's say it's Joe, Frank, Sally, Ashley, and Courtney. And then I had 5 chairs. No, that's not a backwards H. Imagine I had 5 chairs, 5 desks. Imagine again the rows in my classroom. And what I was going to do was I was going to come up with a seating plan for these 5 students in this row of 5 desks in the classroom. Well, first of all, I could just put them in this order. I could say, John, you're first, Frank, Sally, Ashley, Courtney. Or I could put Frank first, and then I could put Sally next, then Courtney, and then Ashley, and then John at the end, and then you get where it's going. There's multiple different ways that we could arrange them. And the question would become, well, how many different ways could I have these 5 students sitting? In how many different orders can I put them in? In how many different ways can they be arranged? That's what a factorial does. We do not have to diagram this out. We don't have to set up a real life experiment. There would be 120 different ways that we could arrange them. Now, one of the things that I love that I'm disappointed in is the Olympics, and I'm disappointed that I won't get to watch them this summer, but it's what a great decision to keep everyone safe, and I can't wait for then summer of 2021. My favorite is the 100 meter. That's such an exciting race to watch. How many people are in the 100 meter finals? There are 8 people. In how many different ways can they finish the race? Well, there's like so many. It could be lane 1 first. It could be lane 7 second. It could be lane 2 third. And you get where it's going. And there's so many different ways you could arrange. How do those 8 people cross the finish line? Well, that is the 8 factorial. There's 40,320 different ways. You see that one in the notes. That was example D. That is what a permutation essentially is. And then I'm going to just go to where in the definition, there is a way to write down, this is what a factorial formally is. Whatever it is, n, it's a number, it can be any number, it can be 4, 5, 3, 8, 6, it doesn't matter. You start off by just taking the first number. So if you were going 5 factorial, well, you start with 5. So if n was 5, well, you start with n. Now in 5 factorial, you already caught on to the pattern. The next number is 4. So it's 1 smaller. The next number is 3. Now just if you look at this formal definition that's in number 2 in your notes, all that would simply happen is if you take the original number 5, how do you go from 5 to 3? Well, now you subtract 2. And then how do you go down to the next number? Well, you'd have to go 5, subtract 3. Notice how it goes down by 1, down by 2, down by 3. And then what would happen is you just keep going. You keep going down to 3, 2, 1. Any factorial always goes down to 3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1, it would be 1 here. And even if it was 6, it'd be 3, 2, 1. If you did a bonus one, let's say we said, what is 2 factorial? Well, 2 factorial is 2 times 1. There's no 3 because it starts at 2. You're still always going down in this pattern, and it kind of makes sense. If there's 2 people, and we're going to decide what order to put them in, well, it can be John first and Frank second, or it could be Frank first and John second. There's 2 different ways to organize them. That is what a factorial is. Now, the final part of this quite nice day is just how do you use your calculator. If you know how to use your calculator, today is going to be a great day, and then we see the importance of it more and more as this chapter unfolds. So in number 3 in your notes, I asked you guys to do some calculating, and the very first one would be almost a waste of time because you're just typing it in. What is 7 factorial? You type it into your calculator, it does the work, even though it's going 7 times 6 times 5 times 4 times 3 times 2 times 1. It always ends that way. The second example, then maybe there isn't a real life scenario I can diagram quickly on the board for you guys, but it's just again practicing your calculator. If you type this in exactly as you see it, 5 factorial divided by 2 factorial, it comes out nicely. It would be a 60. And then the final example, I'll just erase quickly here and then we'll be done your lesson in no time. The final example is just how do you use your calculator. This is reminiscent of the financial math that we did, and often we use brackets to make sure your calculator knows what you want to do. If you were doing this for some real life purpose, what is 12 factorial divided by both 2 factorial and 3 factorial? If you type in the 12 factorial and then hit the divide sign and open a bracket up, put these in brackets and close it, it will come out just like it should. Now, I need a bit more room to write down the answer and finish our lesson. The answer to this guy, 3991680. As long as you can type it into your calculator, it will spit out what we need. And that's again just pure practice, not really a real life scenario unfolding yet. So at the end of the lesson, what I would challenge you to do is in the Moodle version of the course, find what questions you should do out of the textbook to practice this area. And then I'll see you guys next lesson.